Okay, so let's get started. So yeah, so this they call this a high speed track, but it's got some high speed sections, but it's actually high speed but low downforce settings because those the hairpin from 10 and 11 is very tight. You got something tight at from 1 to 2. You got something tight again from 6 to 7.
Yeah.
Now 8 to 9 and 3 to 4, those are more like chicanes. Verstappen can enter those chicanes at high speed and carry the momentum. Uh, but the problem with those tight the chicanes, no, with the hairpin, the problem with the hairpin is going to require a lot of traction and downforce, which again, Red Bull is not known for that, especially compared to McLaren and Mercedes. So it's going to be trouble, but it's still a generally high speed track. So Verstappen, I expect him to be able to fight for a podium with George Russell. And with his excellence, he might be able to come second. And he might even be able to pull a miracle and get, if he gets pole position. I won't call it a miracle, but he's going to have to push it to the limit to get pole position. And if he does get it, there's a slight chance that he could win. But this is an abrasive track, so that even if he gets pole position, the track is abrasive. The tight hairpin, especially from 10 to 11 and 1 to 2, those areas are going to be difficult and put a lot of pressure on the back of his car, which already doesn't have stability. It's not going to be so much a problem of rear stability here, but it's going to be a problem of traction and stopping and going. And with everything that we've seen with the Red Bull this year, relative to McLaren, maybe not relative to other cars, their tires wear out a little bit. But Verstappen looked like he was doing okay in the last race in Spain. He might have been able to come second, maybe even win if he had, because of his strategy, but it was only because of his three-stop strategy. So I'm predicting that he'll come third, at best second, and I'm going to have Piastri winning this because, once again, it seems like Piastri tends to do better on high-speed tracks. This is a high-speed track in general, even though it has like really slow-speed corners. And the type of it has tight corners in which Piastri has been doing better on tight corners than Norris. Norris tends to do better on broad, sweeping, slow corners. So I'm going to have Piastri getting pole position and winning this, and there'll be a battle for Russell. Most likely come second. If he's not careful, he'll lose to Verstappen. Not Russell, Norris most likely come second, but if he's not careful, Verstappen may pull an upset, especially if he gets pole position. Pole position is not out of the question for Verstappen, but this track he's gonna have to carry a lot of speed into the chicanes, which he can do, and hope that he can make up for those tight corners. What do you think, Falabi?
Yeah, I quite agree with you. My main concern, like you rightly pointed out, is hairpin at 10 and 11. You're approaching those hairpins at tremendous speed, and then there's going to be heavy braking. So you need a lot of traction, and there's going to be pressure on the brakes too. There's going to be a lot of heat and thermal degradation on the tires as a result of the braking. So I sincerely hope Red Bull has tweaked their car to ensure that their braking doesn't come up with too many surprises for Max Verstappen. Also, 1-2 is another tricky one. If you can navigate that very well with the setups that they're going to bring to this race, I think he'll do well. I see him peeping Norris to second. I think Piastri will make pole again in the qualifying, but because this is a Monza-esque kind of circuit, there's ample opportunity for passing and overtakes. I think last year there were 48 overtakes here in Canada, so I feel because of that I have confidence in Max Verstappen. And if the rain shows up, it even gives him more opportunity to upset the apple cart as regards McLaren.
Yeah. And also, like I said, up until they gave him the hard tires, Verstappen was driving at the best he's ever driven in his career. That's every weekend now in which he qualifies well, he's driving at the highest rate. So Verstappen is in peak shape. And I don't think that tension about him getting all the British people saying, oh, he's such a horrible person. I think that fuels him on. So you can best believe he's already forgotten about last week, forgotten about getting angry, because he's able to do that. And he's going to be focused. So that's why the McLaren guys are still going to have to be at their top. But I foresee something in which, like, Verstappen might be able to get pole position. And it's just going to depend on the setup of the car, because we know that they don't have upgrades, and whether they can deal with issues of rear balance. They've done the Red Bull car is hit or miss, because they've had weeks in which they're the tire management has been great. It was great at Imola. It was great at Suzuka. It's been great several places. It hasn't been great in tracks that are ultimately slow speed. So what's helping him is this is a fast track. It's just that those two, the 10 to 11 and 1 to 2 are going to be kind of tight. I think he's going to do okay in the chicanes from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He likes those continuous things, busting out in sector 2. So I think sector 3 is going to be a problem for him. And part of sector 1, the part that part of sector 1 will be a problem for him. But the good thing about that is that at sector 1, the hard part is at the very beginning of it, from 1 to 2. But from 3, 4, 5, which is also in sector 1, he'll be good. So looking at it, 1 to 2 will be a problem for him, and 10 to 11. Other than that, this is a good track for him, actually. It just depends on how much damage does to the tires. What do you think? Forgetting about his name, Larata. Yeah.
Yeah, man,
I have some weeds. I'm fucking forgetting shit. Go ahead.
I think the Canadian track always brings exciting races, especially when you consider all the conditions. First, the fact that it's kind of like a hybrid track, almost like street meets smooth track, which I think contributes to this abrasiveness. So tire strategy is going to play a big role in how the race plays out, and also there's been the second conditions is either weather conditions or I know that there's been like wildfires in Canada that actually threatened the race in and of itself, and I think we'll see exactly how the weather changes sort of affect what will happen in the race. I think like Afolabi said rightly, last year was a very exciting race with a lot of overtakes. I think we saw someone like Magnussen moving from outside the points to like 5th place before actually he fell back out due to a bad pit stop. But I remember the fact that tire strategy and tire choice really played a big role in sort of shifting positions between one place to another. Of course, I think we're going to see more proof in terms of the McLaren car if it really works outside of the advantages that they've had from the flexi wing. That will show to be true in this week, to see if this is kind of like staying power, which will tell us what will happen over the rest of the season. And I think, I think there was also kind of like a lot of discussions around Max and how he normally, I mean, in my own opinion, I always see him sort of normally bounce back from a penalty or something like that with a lot more focus and a lot more aggression and a lot more determination to sort of prove a point, even though, I mean, he doesn't have to. But like he'll be out there trying to sort of hone in and focus in. I don't buy his kind of like reservedness in terms of him saying that the championship is gone. I think that was like post race kind of like emotions that we're talking there. I think in his head he's already sort of working on getting back on the race and pushing past Piastri, because I think that's the person that Max is racing, and Lando if he doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah, but no, I believe Verstappen. See, the thing about Verstappen, he's going to try 100%. He really believes there's no chance. Did you hear what he said after the interview? They said because of what you did to Russell, you blew yourself the championship. He said the championship is already lost anyway. Verstappen doesn't lie. He tells you how he really believes. His team is rubbish in terms of dumb mistakes. I believe Verstappen still thinks he has an outside chance. But when I saw him in that interview, I think he's coming to the realization every week it's like pulling a tooth even for him to win. he's having to extract and go. Verstappen knows that if he wins, he has to put in 150%. I think he knows the car is not doing what it's supposed to do, and the team. They have brake problems which keep reappearing, and there's no explanation for why. The brakes did well in Imola, then they didn't do well in Monaco. During this race, the last one last week, the tires were dropping off. That's why he had to do a three-stop strategy. To me, I think he's already is beginning to see that there's low chances of him winning. I think he can still win, but for him to win, there's going to have to be something outside of the analytical frame we're looking at. So far this year, McLaren has proven that it has the best race pace or equal race pace to Red Bull in only 3 races, and in every other race, they've had the best race pace. Their tires don't drop off. Red Bull's car is unpredictable. I think Verstappen is too analytical to believe that he can actually win this championship. What do you think, Lorato? He's too analytical. He doesn't know racing then, because he's analytical.
I think. I mean, in terms of whatever and like the analytical basis of that statement, I
like
would.
Math, 2 + 2 = 4. Nobody can say right now that he has a chance.
I'm sort of I lean towards that based on his analysis. But I do think that the minute he puts on a helmet, he's still a racer. And
he's going to race. Here's the thing about him.
But this is where my point is going towards. The fact that McLaren can and always will make mistakes. This is beyond, of course, like you're talking about outside the bounds of the analytics. And this is where I'm basing a lot of the statements that I'm making, that outside of those bounds, once he sees a chance in the middle of the race, he'll go for it. It's not something that he's going to leave on the table because he's sort of reserved himself to not winning the championship. That's the point that I'm making.
Yeah, well, my point is that if you ask him, if you told Verstappen, take 500 million and bet on yourself or against, he will bet against himself, but he will still try 100%. That's how a professional driver is. He knows that the chances of winning are very low, but regardless of that, he's going to drive all out. Even once he's mathematically out, that's when he will stop driving. Once he's mathematically out. What are your thoughts on Falabi?
I think in principle we agree, yeah.
What are your thoughts on Falabi?
Yeah, I quite agree with you. He's a racer, and he'll give it everything it requires. But like you guys rightly mentioned, there's going to be a lot of tire degradation, and there are a lot of heavy braking zones. The hairpins, the chicanes are going to test the rear tires a lot. So Red Bull are going to have to get the setups for the brakes optimal so that it doesn't affect his mechanical grip, which he complained about pretty early in the Spanish Grand Prix, and they really did not do anything about it. And I believe it was at the point where he lost grip that he started to complain and he became upset, and that just metamorphosed into his behavior and what happened. So I think they have to do something about brake thermal management. This is critical to avoid overheating and mechanical.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with Red Bull, to be honest with you. I don't know what their problem is.
They need to sort that out. And because of the dry conditions too, there's going to be a lot of tire degradation. So the tire strategies have to be.
And the track is what, abrasive.
Yes, it's abrasive. So the tire.
To be honest with you, it's only going to be mistakes, and he's going to have to get pole position. There's no way he's going to win that race. Yes. If he gets pole position, maybe he can. The tire degradation won't be too bad for him. He's going to have to get pole position.
But if the conditions are wet, I think.
But we haven't been talking about Leclerc too, so we need to talk about Leclerc too.
Okay.
I don't even know what type of track. What do you think of Ferrari? What type of track fits? Let me not say both Ferraris. Let's just talk about Leclerc. What type of track does that Ferrari? What is it this year? I think they're better towards mid to high speed, right?
Medium to high speed, basically, because sometimes they've done very poorly on fast, high-speed tracks, and they have been particularly impressive in circuitous tracks like Monaco. So they're somewhere in between. I think it's more of the same. Charles Leclerc will outperform Lewis Hamilton without a shadow of doubt.
Yeah, the problem with Leclerc is that he's not qualifying well.
He's not qualifying well. That's the problem. And Hamilton's pace will continue to, depreciate. in the Spanish Grand Prix, Hamilton, his race pace was really nothing to write home about. And Charles Leclerc did really very well, at least to push George Russell away. And I think he'll put on another very strong finish. In fact, I think Max Verstappen has to be wary of Leclerc in trying to chase down the...
Leclerc is actually the one that's costing Verstappen this championship this year, which is a good thing because he's doing it fair and square. He's driving well.
A lot of pressure.
He needs to be putting more pressure on those boys in McLaren. But because of his qualifying, he's not doing that. Yeah. I would rather see Leclerc get a pole position or come second. That would help Verstappen to disrupt those guys at McLaren. But for some reason, the Ferrari car is just is elusive. What do you think of Falabi?
It's elusive. It's just as unpredictable as the RB21. And you never know what you're going to get. But
the RB21 is actually predictable. We know that they don't do well on slow speed tracks, and they sometimes have grip issues. But the Ferrari, they're up and down, man. Yeah, sorry, continue.
But look at Spain. I expected something better from Red Bull in Spain because...
Your connection is bad.
I expected something better from Red Bull in Spain, really. But look at what happened at the end of the day. So that's why I was saying that...
so Verstappen came third in qualifying. Yeah, he pushed it, but they were having that stability problem jumped up again in the rear. So but I think it's because it's a mix. I think it's because it's a mixed track. That was a mix of high speed and low speed.
Low speed.
So, but this one is mostly high speed. But because it has two tight corners, that turns it into a low downforce.
Yes.
You get my point.
Especially
I think it's going to be more of the same. He needs an absolute speed track like Suzuka to do well.
Yeah. But then
who I qualified? Did Lewis Hamilton qualify Leclerc in qualifying in Spain? I can't remember. I think he did. Let me see.
I'm not quite sure. Right now.
Let me check. The reason I'm saying so is because Leclerc is complaining that when Hamilton was ahead of him, Hamilton was giving him dirty air, that he's angry at Hamilton. But my argument is that why were you behind Hamilton? Do you get my point?
Yeah.
He shouldn't be behind. So my point being is that Leclerc, he doesn't see the irony in that he needs to qualify better, then he doesn't have to worry about dirty air. You get my point? Because it's true, Hamilton was slow, and then Hamilton takes a long time to get away with it. But what happened that you end up in the race being behind Hamilton? You understand what I'm trying to say?
I understand what you're trying to say. So Leclerc basically has to improve his qualifying performance.
Yeah, because I know Hamilton's slowing you down, but that means what excuse do you have for not qualifying better? It's probably because of the car, but my thing is that he needs to realize that having a great race and getting on the podium at the last minute when you come back is not how you win in F1. You have to control from the beginning. I'm trying to find out what happened in qualifying. What do you think, Lorato?
Yeah, I think, looking at the top four, George Russell.
Sorry, guys. Hamilton came fifth in qualifying. Go ahead, yeah. Go ahead, yeah. Right. Sorry, go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, after I think Kimi and George had a pretty strong start to the season, they seem to be falling back, especially looking at these engine reliability issues that they've had, which I think also messed with Alonso's race a couple of races ago as well. So the Mercedes power units are really struggling.
I'm still wondering if they're helping McLaren win this year, to be honest with you, because they know next year is their year. They're both the same team, to be honest with you. But it doesn't matter because Verstappen doesn't have to worry about what Mercedes does. He needs to aim for the McLaren guys. Go ahead,
yeah. But I think this is the one thing that's propelling the Ferraris into the fourth and fifth positions behind Max when he's qualified well. And that is why we're always sort of seeing that battle between Max and Leclerc sort of happening, and I think that's going to be an interesting one to see over this coming race, to see how well the Ferraris can improve, and I understand also from what Red Bull has also said with regards to the car is that the car that they have now is basically the car that they have to work with. There might be a couple of tweaks here and there, but there aren't going to be any more upgrades and things like that, which I think shows that what you are saying about the team mentality, that the team has sort of relented on them even challenging for the constructors or anything like that. But I think that kind of attitude is the kind of attitude that might cause the number one driver a championship chance.
It's looking bleak. So this guy, Leclerc, came 7th in qualifying. So he's complaining that Hamilton is slowing him down, but he came 7th in qualifying, Leclerc. There's no excuse for that. I need to go read the newspapers again to find out how Leclerc came 7th in qualifying in the last race. What do you think, Afolabi? I know there was a problem. I think it's the car, but you got to take some ownership, man, and figure out like.
He needs to improve his qualifying performance, because when you see him on race day, he's usually very, very slick, and you wonder why. After qualifying poorly, how he's able to put up that kind of performance on race day. So he needs to improve that without a shadow of doubt. But if you look at
Ferrari, the car, but Hamilton came 5th. Yeah. So my thing is that even if he's coming back, he should be. If he's complaining that Hamilton is slowing him down, then what he should do is make sure he outqualifies Hamilton in the next race. I guess that's my point.
Exactly.
You can accuse that the Ferrari car is slower than everybody else, but what's his excuse for qualifying slower than Hamilton? You get my point. I'm not saying that he should qualify faster, but he's losing to his teammate in qualifying. Then he's complaining that his teammate is slowing him down in the race.
Yes, and I dare say if he improves his qualification, it puts him in a better position to even challenge the McLarens, really.
Yeah. So they say Lewis Hamilton has consistency problems, which is true, but Leclerc does too. Which is why we don't say Leclerc is as good as Verstappen. Leclerc is as good at high speed as Verstappen, right? But he also doesn't have craft. What I mean by he doesn't have craft, he doesn't have everything. Verstappen has qualifying. Verstappen has defensive positioning. Verstappen has start. Verstappen has ability to find grip. A lot of those things Leclerc can find grip too. But the difference is Verstappen has a check in every box. He may not be the best in every box, but everything, he doesn't have any deficiencies as a driver.
No,
except for maybe
he doesn't.
When he gets emotional.
Yeah,
that's about it. Same thing with Alonso. Alonso doesn't have any deficiencies.
Yeah.
Alonso's only deficiency is that he doesn't have as much natural speed as Hamilton and Verstappen. But he also has a check in every box. He's one of the best starters. So Leclerc, to me, he's more of a natural. I don't think he's methodical enough. It's just that nobody's putting an eye to it. Anyway, let's change to the next subject. Just clickbait as far as I'm concerned. What's the name of that guy, Cullum, the engineer?
Cullum Nicholas.
Cullum Nicholas. I think this is clickbait, but let's listen to what he's saying. He said that Verstappen will win 5 championships and then quit, and this will be his last year. So I don't know when that video, because I was watching our boy, I got to give credit to Cameron F1. He said that we don't know when that video was recorded. It might have been a couple of weeks ago when Verstappen was looking good. But he said that he thinks Verstappen's going to leave, but he has no reason. Either he knows something we don't know, or he's just talking. What I think, to be honest with you, is that if Red Bull doesn't improve, Verstappen will either join a new team in 2027, or he will leave the sport for 2 reasons. Verstappen likes consistency. His dad has been with him his whole life. He's been with Red Bull and the team his whole life. He doesn't like changing environments. He likes Helmut Marko, and he's a family person. Verstappen was with his dad. Now he's married to Piquet or dating her and has a kid, has been raising her child. He's sort of like Vettel. He likes to have consistency. He's not the type of person that's going to jump from team to team. So, and also, he also doesn't judge himself by what people think about him. He judges himself by his performance. So I think he can walk away from the sport and not miss it because he's driven internally. He's not driven by F1, and he'll just go to another racing crew. And I think what's going to put the nail on the hammer is the inconsistent way he's being treated by the press and by FIA. Once again, Leclerc hit this guy at 300. You saw that video. I've played it many times. It's very clear. Leclerc was at fault there. Nothing said. Then George Russell hit him. I don't think George Russell did it on purpose. And Leclerc said he was trying to push Verstappen because he wanted more clean track. Then Russell, then your team tells you to give up position. Then when you get hit, the only thing people want to ask you is, did you hit people on purpose? So I think that Verstappen is the type of person who likes to control the narrative. So if he feels like he doesn't have power, he'll move to somewhere where he does have power. So if he feels like he's losing power in F1 and everybody's against him, he'll find an area like GT racing or something where he does have power and he can validate himself. So I think there's a big chance he could leave F1, especially if Sky Sports and these guys continue. They didn't show up for when he won in Brazil for the racing thing, and he sees that F1 is controlled by the British. He may move away because Verstappen is an extremist. He's a pure racer. Whether it's sim racing or Le Mans or whatever, I don't think he's sentimental and that he feels he has to stay in F1. And I don't think he cares about how many titles he wins. What do you think, Afolabi?
I quite agree with you, but this guy seems to know Max Verstappen very well. They say he's a long-serving senior
mechanic. So he knows something of Verstappen. He's just not telling us.
So he's obviously worked with Verstappen for a long time, and he understands the kind of driver he is. He says that it will be lunacy to believe that Verstappen is unable to wrest back the initiative from the McLarens. But if you look at this year's scenario, I think there's a little bit wisdom, a little bit of wisdom in what it says, in the sense that this time last year, Verstappen was threatening to run away, with the title. Maybe not as dominant as this, but all of a sudden, when that asymmetric stuff got found out, somehow it started dropping. So I don't see McLaren continuing on this, trajectory throughout the season. They're going to experience some kind of dip, and it's not.
Yeah, they've already reached their max. They've reached their maximum because even that race, even if they had won it, if you notice, thanks because you're doing the analytical. We have to remember that before Verstappen exploded, he was maintaining pace and still sticking with them after a 3-stop strategy. And actually, they pitted. If he hadn't pitted, he might have won that race on those soft tires. You get my point. So you're right, but these guys are dominating. McLaren is dominating this year, but they're not gapping the way that Verstappen was gapping when he had the asymmetrical device.
So,
and we still have Ferrari getting better.
Yes.
And we still have 20-something races. So it's not over.
Yes.
The biggest thing that hurt Verstappen was actually not getting. If Verstappen had kept his cool and gotten 4th place, he would be in a good position right now. So you're right. I think the advantage to so right now we're seeing the same as last year. First part of the season, Verstappen. And there's something about F1, once you reach a peak developmentally, other teams catch you. So Ferrari, Leclerc is pushing up, he's getting podium. So anything can happen. So we're not going to rule out these guys.
And if you look at this flexi wing thing, people are beginning to say it's not affecting McLaren. It's not changing the status quo or stuff like that, but there's still going to be further tests. There's going to be testing.
But here's the thing, but let's look at it. If you look at it, they were leading Verstappen, right? Yeah. And they weren't, at the time that he got crazy, he was still within 4 seconds of them. Do you get my point? So how do we know that if they had their front flexi wing thing, it wouldn't have been 10 seconds?
Yeah.
That they were. That's why I say people aren't doing their analysis. We don't.
Yeah, it's too soon to say that the flexi wing thing is already.
He was close with them, and it was only in Monaco because Monaco you don't use those flexi wings.
Yeah.
But in Imola where he I forgot what happened to him in Imola. He won. Did he win Imola? No, he won Imola, right?
Yeah, he won in Imola. Yes, won in Imola.
Yeah. There they weren't able to budge him. But there was one race. No, I know what it was. Jeddah. Even when they beat him in Jeddah, it was because he had to give the place to Piastri, and Piastri only beat him by 5-6 seconds. So that front wing may have made a difference, but it's just that because they still have tire deg.
Yes.
So they still have the tire deg thing, which is worth at least 3 seconds. So what do you think?
Okay.
I'll go to you then we'll go to Lorato. Last thoughts, Afolabi.
There's going to be a lot of load testing again in Canada. So I think McLaren shouldn't be too rest assured that this directive is not going to affect their performance. There's going to be load testing.
Yeah, especially for high speed, For
high speed. So I think that there will be a point where McLaren will begin to
be honest with you, if I don't know what's wrong with Mercedes, Russell should be the favorite to win this race if Mercedes is doing what it's supposed to do because they have the best traction. I don't know, but go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so basically I feel that McLaren has peaked, like you rightly mentioned, and
they've already peaked. It's just about maintaining now.
Yes, just like maintaining balance. Just like last season, when Red Bull did so well in the first quarter, and they started to, have problems due to the asymmetric thing. I think something similar will happen to McLaren, and
also
the chasing pack will catch up.
Also, they're going to have a DNF. I think Mr. Johnny said it. They're going to eventually have a DNF because let me tell you something. Here's why I say I'm so surprised at F1. For the past 10 days, even on our show, I don't have any choice because of trending. Only thing people are talking about is Hamilton and Verstappen. Nobody's talking about the title race. Do you see how far F1 has fallen? You're not talking about one of the greatest title races ever between Norris and Piastri. We're only talking about Verstappen
and Hamilton.
Nobody's talking about what's going to happen because to me, I was thinking, even though I like Verstappen, it's going to be fun to see Piastri versus Norris. But what I'm saying is that people don't realize that once they're all celebrating because they're beating Verstappen, once they do that, Norris is happy because Verstappen's losing, but he's still going to have to face the fact that he's losing to his teammate. And once that happens, if those guys come 1-2 in the start of the grid, there's going to come a point in which these guys are going to start racing each other and wearing out their tires.
Of course, and they'll be taking points from each other.
What do you think, Lorato?
Yeah. I think the title race is still sort of like...
I'll even say Leclerc may even win. You never know. Leclerc may win 4 or 5 in a row. Watch out for this shit, man. Go ahead, Lorato.
Yeah. I think it's going to be exciting to see how things shift and change. The more like tweaks and changes are done to the different cars, and whatever little upgrades are brought throughout the final few months of development, because we all don't think there will be a lot of development happening towards the end of the year, because
except for maybe Ferrari may improve the most over the last part of the year. Only because they're not developing, they're just correcting their mistakes. So we can find out the real pace. Yeah. All right, let's get out of here. We've done good enough for today. Oh, yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Sure. I was saying attention is now beginning already to shift towards 2026 as we approach.
And watch out. I'm predicting that George Russell might win that shit next year, unless Verstappen goes there. You know what's funny? If Verstappen called Toto Wolff and said he wanted to come right now, George Russell would be. Wouldn't that be the best revenge on George Russell? It's up to Verstappen. If Verstappen said, I want to come now, Toto Wolff would kick Russell out immediately. That would be perfect, because I'm tired of Russell. I don't know what he's doing. He's such a horrible... I can't stand these moral people. We know that Verstappen was wrong. Why would you as a racer want an apology for somebody? Because it doesn't affect whether you win or not. You understand what I'm saying, Lorato? Yeah, it's sentimental. Yeah. It doesn't affect... But I don't think Russell really cares. I think Russell's smart also. He's just trying to turn all of F1 against Verstappen, which he should do, because that's another strategy you can use. What do you think, Lorato?
Yeah, I think George Russell is the sort of like president of the drivers' union for a reason, because he's good at PR. Yeah. So I think he's running his own kind of like PR machine.
Yeah. Which is okay. I'm not blaming him for that, but he has to remember that he also has to spend time in the sim and win on the track. You get my point? Yeah.
No, sure. But I do think, just to sort of like go back to the whole point about what's happening with the season as it sort of progresses. There's still a lot in it for any one of the top 5 to sort of be in it with a chance. But I think if Piastri wins the next another couple of races, he will really sort of put a huge distance between himself and whoever is behind him.
And then Norris will have to wake up to the fact that you're sitting down there looking at Verstappen. You just got beat by your own teammate.
Yeah.
Even Verstappen would love that. Verstappen would love that.
Yeah. No, but it would be embarrassing for Norris. This would be embarrassing.
Let's start before we get out of here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Basically, like you said, it will be very embarrassing for Norris, really, because the real pressure on him is his teammate, Oscar Piastri, and not Max Verstappen. And I think it's on that note that we'll round up our Formula One show for the Canada.
That's going to be our cover for this show. It will be very embarrassing.
Yeah. Also his Piastri streak continues of completed races. I think he's going to 38 now.
That guy's crazy, man. Yeah. Let me tell you something. That guy's crazy at the age of 24. At the age of 24, that guy is crazy, man. That's all I can say. Even they say he doesn't have as much talent as Verstappen, these guys, but also mindset is a talent. That guy is crazy. When
Consistency
Verstappen
over
was
talent
he was
any day.
crashing into people, man. Yeah, he was still crashing into people. That guy's crazy. So if he wins this year, that's people. They keep downplaying him. Oh, he's not talented. The guy is talented, and whatever he's doing is working, man. I don't care what it is, man. That guy is good, man. All right, take us out of yeah. Thanks. Yes, that was good. You took us out of Fall, so I'll take us out now.
Another brilliant from Laon show from Mustafa, Lerato, and myself. We'll be back again.
Yeah, I talked to Kunle and those guys. Those guys are enjoying the Muslim holiday, drinking and killing cows and stuff. All right, bye.
Eid Mubarak.